Can you feel that?
AATBirds Weekly Report is the Eagle news, notes, and analysis you need.
Go back. He looks, fires for the end zone. Intercepted. The 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown. Not where. Midfield. He's going to go. Deshaun Jackson. He steps up. He's hit and falls forward. He fumbles the football, and the Eagles have it. It's gone. And the Eagles win.
It's all birds. All the time.
And welcome to another edition of the AATBirds Weekly Report. I myself, Johnny Uleka, is joined by Chip, Chip for the Birds down the bottom there. And finally, Kendall is back with us at Quebec Eagles. He's gotten over his sickness over there.
Was he down with the sickness?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, get down. Sorry.
We're going to be talking about the Eagles. I do want to get Kendall's thoughts on the draft since he wasn't on last week's show. But we're going to kind of dive into what's left of this roster in holes, basically where we think the Eagles could fill them, whether it's the trade route or the free agent route. Kendall and I have some good lists. Chip wanted to play a little bit, so he's got the he's like that class clown.
I've got a good list anyway. Shut it.
The class clown, and clown is on his list. So starting with you, Kendall, I do want to ask your thoughts on the draft. What did you think of what the Eagles did and basically how it all played out?
Yeah, you can't ask for a much better, haul the Eagles got. From Nolan Smith to fall to 30, I mean, I think all of us would have been fine with him at 10. Cindy Brown, the safety that fills a hole. There's a lot of holes that the Eagles don't have, which is very good, but, there's small things that need to be addressed, like linebacker. They got some punter competition going on. Just small things that, it's the best roster in the league. And you can't, have everything that you could possibly want, but the Eagles pretty much answered the bell during the draft. Jalen Carter, no one really thought he would slip to 10, but for him to essentially fall to 9 and just fall in our laps, I mean, you walk away from the draft with him just alone happy. So Eagles are big winners in the draft. I think the Giants in the division had a pretty solid draft. The Seahawks had a solid draft, and as well did the Steelers. But the Eagles walked away big winners. And even from the undrafted guys like Eli Ricks, he was once a projected top 10 pick last year before his injuries and whatnot. So if he can, put it together during the training camp and earn a roster spot, you're talking about someone who has real potential. So we'll see what the rest of the offseason brings, but we have some ideas coming up for you guys. So
yeah, and I think it's the most telling sign of how good the Eagles draft was is how much other teams are angry allegedly with the Philadelphia Eagles. There is no question in my mind that the Eagles had, I would say, the perfect draft. They knew the holes that needed filling. They got the best player they got the best player available at every position that they needed. It was the absolute perfect draft. And the rich got richer. I mean, you've seen multiple videos of people just being angry with the Eagles, and I'm okay with it. As I said on our draft recap, I don't remember a time where I came out of a draft thinking, man, we nailed every single pick. And we did.
And I think you have to look at it this way, though, too, is going into this offseason, we knew what the Eagles had with all the free agents that were potentially leaving, and we knew what the team had to do. They had work to do. It wasn't going to be easy. You needed to sign your franchise quarterback to a mega deal. You had to maneuver that. You had to do a lot of different things with this team. And I thought they were going to be losing a lot more than they did. They were able to re-sign guys like Fletcher Cox and re-sign Bradbury, keep Slay. They were able to do a lot of things, plus sign some free agents and keep enough depth. And that's a major key thing, because when you're getting these guys and you're drafting, these high profile guys to then potentially take over after the fact, you're able to still keep the depth. But the purpose of this show is we're going to be going over some options that we feel can even raise the bar and make it even better. Because we know, and how we said it, the team's not done. They're not finished. They're never finished. They're always looking to improve, no matter where it is. There are some tiny holes on the roster, somewhere you need to add some depth. Definitely, when you're looking at the depth chart, there is some spots you could see them upgrading. And you look at the list of free agents that are available. There are some quality players. You look at the trade market, especially a lot of the guys who 50-year options were declined. You could see a couple of those guys getting dealt. Teams getting draft compensation for those players that are most likely going to leave. There is possibility with that. Or even guys who are on the last years of their deal. That's what Howie did last year with CJ Gardner-Johnson. So that's also a possibility to keep an eye on as well. Again, you're starting to see this next phase of free agency the last couple of days, teams signing players, whether it's Donovan Smith to the Chiefs, and you're seeing other players, Randall Cobb to the Jets. You're seeing these players get signed to kind of fill in some needs, get some depth for these other teams. And, I'm going to start out with you, Kendall. We're going to start off with your list of 3 players. I know Max here commenting here. Love to see a move for a guy like Buda, Devin White, or Patrick Queen. Of course, we've heard those names this offseason. And then, I could be wrong, but trade for White or Queen, they don't re-sign. We get you can get compensatory picks as long as you don't sign the free agents. There's a little bit of a complex formula, but that is the case. Again, that is also the case with DeAndre Swift, who they traded for a 7th round swap and a 2025 4th round pick. So if DeAndre Swift doesn't re-sign with them and signs a Miles Sanders like deal this offseason, Eagles could get a 4th, 5th round pick back in compensation. So that is.
And that's what I was going to say, because the moves that Howie has made,
Kendall's a goat. So
the moves that Howie has made, like the DeAndre Swift deal, is we gave up nothing, absolutely nothing, for a top tier running back who, yes, is injury prone and coming off things, but he's not going to be. I mean, we are a running back committee situation. Our running back 1 is Jalen Hurts. So the fact that we have a Rashad Penny, who is absolutely explosive when he's healthy, we signed him for very little. The fact that we got DeAndre Swift for very, very little. And if these guys happen to do incredible and they sign elsewhere, great. If they happen to do incredible and they stay here, great. If they don't play well, it's really financially not going to make or break this team. I think that not only were the picks, I don't buy into the injury prone narrative either, but I'm just trying to put in the perspective of what the media is saying. I think that DeAndre Swift got an absolute raw deal in Detroit. I think the fact that they didn't take Jamal Williams either back was just stupid on their part. Like, they got rid of an absurd rushing attack for nothing.
Yeah. And I'm going to start off with you, Kendall. I'm going to let you break down your list. You have 3 players here. We did 3 players each. Just to kind of keep it simple here, but go ahead, explain your players.
So before I had Quan Alexander on this list, I had Cameron Brate, tight end, formerly from the Buccaneers. Obviously, they signed Dan Arnold, so it kind of takes away from the tight end signing. But I put in Quan because I think he is exactly who Devin White is, but he's going to literally cost you like 1% of what White would cost you. But Quan's a big playmaker. He sometimes struggles to make tackles. He's not really, your solidified playmaker, but he has splash plays occasionally. And, when you bring him in, he's going to give you enough for what you're paying him. He's bounced around the league, but he's a LSU product, as is Patrick Queen. They're both very, very good. Patrick Queen, younger, less experienced, but he has a higher ceiling. I don't know what the Ravens' plan is with him. I'm going to assume they're going to keep him because, their window is now. Trading him would kind of be counterproductive. I mean, we'll see, but I doubt he gets moved. But with Howie, you never know. You can't ever count him out. He's also a big playmaker. The Eagles are needing a linebacker to fill the void. Morrow isn't going to be just a guy going to training camp, as well as Nakobe. There's going to be another body in there. And then another one was Isaiah Wynn, only 26 or 27, also from Georgia product. He played, I think, 9 games last year, started 7. He let up 4 sacks. He's been with the Patriots for a good bit. He's young and has fresh legs. Georgia. Yeah. Anyways, he can bring a lot to a backup role. I would imagine Statland would help develop him. I'm still surprised he's still available just because of how young he is, but they're going to bring somebody else in from the offensive line just because they kind of have to. The depth isn't really there yet, so these are my main guys, and maybe a punter just for shits and giggles, just in case the guy from K-State, wherever he's from, doesn't work out. But yeah.
So Max is here. Are the Eagles going to roll with Quez as wide receiver 3, or what about a guy like Jarvis Landry? No idea what kind of money he wants.
So I wanted to get another receiver on here, but who did we recently sign from Atlanta?
Olamide Zaccheaus.
Yeah,
we
like
have Zaccheaus. We still have Greg Ward. We've got Devin Allen. We've got Britton Covey.
None of those
we've
guys,
got bodies. I know none of them are good, but neither is Quez Watkins.
None of those guys are going to be bringing any kind of competition to Quez, which is the issue.
Right.
People would probably hate on the Jarvis Landry accusation. I think he would be a great fit. I think he would be perfect. Possession guy who's going to run a lot of underneath routes. He's reliable more than Quez is, and I don't think you can just walk into next year and saying, "Hey, Quez, this is your job." Like, no worries. Like your job's safe. You can't do that.
No, there's worries.
He came up short so many times last year, and you need to bring in some kind of competition for him. Well, I just don't know if they have a plan to do that.
Kendall, do you know who is available?
Mm-mm.
Jalen Reagor.
I think he's on the Vikings still.
They're declining his option because he was so ineffective.
Well, yeah, he's still on the roster.
He's still on the team, though.
He's not going to make the team.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't want him, though.
But no, I'm joking. I want no part of Jalen Reagor. I'm just so very surprised that he is, going to be available for the whole NFL. He's a joke and a half. Yes, I should be muted for mentioning Jalen Reagor. I apologize, Adam. I'm deeply sorry. Happy belated birthday.
You should. Let me bring up
your
list.
Don't put mine up yet. Let me explain what I was trying to do until Kendall so rudely interrupted with his pick of Patrick Queen. So I felt that the Eagles after the draft had a ton of riches and were very wealthy in so many positions. So I felt that the kingdom was quite full. So I went with a series of players that would all be found in a castle. Johnny, you can pull mine up now.
It's none of those people. It's who I sent you.
The players that I would have, again, I would take Patrick Queen because he was a queen, but I would take a Baker, a King, and a Clowney. Now, I don't want Jadeveon Clowney. Patrick Queen would be in that spot, but I wanted to keep with my theme. And again, Jadeveon Clowney would be pretty monstrosity. But starting at the top, Budda Baker. Budda Baker is an absolute monster player. He is an absolute ball hawk. Now, do I feel that the safety position is okay right now? Sure. Do I feel that they drafted a solid player? Absolutely. But I think that you cannot argue with what Budda Baker would bring
Yes,
two,
Ryan, we're talking some linebacker. I'll
Indeed
get back
we
to
do.
linebacker when Chip's done with his nonsense.
This is not nonsense. All these three would be great picks. Yeah,
I mean, Marquette King hasn't punted in probably.
false. He's punting in the XFL right now.
I can go outside
He's
and play in
not.
my backyard.
Listen,
Yeah.
even if Marquette
I like
King
Marquette
hasn't,
King. I will give
even
him
if
that. I do like
Marquette
Marquette King, but
yeah, even if Marquette King hasn't punted in the NFL since 2017, which is the case when he signed a $7 million deal with the Raiders, he's still a better option than Sipos is. So we know we need punter competition. I am absolutely taking a player like Marquette King as a punter. And Jadeveon Clowney would wreak havoc. I mean, that would be just a rich getting richer. But I definitely want. But again, it's the punter. It's the punter.
My analysis to some of these options, I would love Buda Baker. I think he's a great option. With them trading their 3rd round pick for to trade up into to get Ringo. I mean, you're not going to give
compensatory pick yet because it doesn't exist.
Exist exactly. So I don't think. I mean, you're not going to give a second for Baker. You're just not going to do that. And so you're also the Cardinals probably wouldn't take a 4th. It would be a 3rd, I think, in my imagining. But so Baker, we just wouldn't be able to afford him just because of lack of picks. And there's already a very busy room of Brown, Edmonds, Blankenship, so on and so forth. It's pretty active room. So Clowney, he's kind of like probably he would have been a very good option if we didn't get Nolan Smith.
Agreed.
I think Nolan Smith probably just kind of tees off the edge because they're already going to have a bunch of really tough decisions to make when it comes to training camp. I mean, Patrick Johnson probably, he's outside linebacker.
Yeah, we haven't forgotten about him
playing edge. But Marquette King, I think there's a reason why he hasn't played in the NFL and probably won't play in the NFL again, but we'll see.
But again, he's still a better option than Sipos. Now, the only reason why we're keeping Sipos is because he's the holder for Jake Elliott. But we have shown time and time again that having a bad punter in close games and losing the field position game can affect you. That's why they got an undrafted free agent just to compete with him. But I truly feel that, look, Jake Elliott is the kicker, no question. Rick Lovato is the holder, no question. I think you got to replace the punter at this point. And if that's the position that I really feel is the weakest on the team, I feel like we're doing okay.
So
I feel like the Eagles would have done that last year. They would have replaced Sipos with King last year.
So I want to bring this up. So the last year King played in the NFL was 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He averaged 44.1 yards per punt. Sipos averaged 45.7, I believe, last year.
Sipos honestly did not have that bad of a season last year. I mean, it was obviously dreadful. Like, he had some really low moments, but he also had some flashes. And obviously you can't rely on that, his reliability. But
right.
I mean, he had some punts back into the 10, I'm pretty sure. Like at least a handful, right?
But here's the thing.
His percentage of inside the 20 was 36.4%. And Marquette Kings was 35. Kings was 35%.
All right.
Now,
obviously, Marquette King is not getting signed by the Eagles. We get it. But so you just gave us.
That's only 4 games, though. I guess I should say it. He only played 4 games in 2018. His 2017 was a lot better.
What was the league average compared to Sipos? Where did he end up on punting
if it's 4 games, you'd want a higher percentage. You would think it would be a higher percentage, right?
No, because you have a lower set of numbers to pull from. So like every punt,
I'll get the leaders.
Every punt affects it. Every punt affects it.
I'll get my list up there.
I just feel like
let's see what Johnny has here to provide. I'm intrigued to see his options. That's not Marquette King.
Let's see here. So along the punts. Here we go. Punting yards.
Here we go.
It's funny. It was Ryan Stonehouse led the league in punting yards.
When? Last year?
Last year.
Stonehouse was crazy good last year.
Hold on, there it is. Okay, I got to go down a little bit. And the thing is, Stonehouse beat out Brett Kern because Brett Kern, he doesn't have it anymore, and we know that, unfortunately.
Yeah, we saw it.
Yeah, we saw it. We saw it a lot. Unfortunately, there. So okay, here we go. Yards per punt. Let me see year by year. Here we go. All right, the yards per punt last year. Ryan Stonehouse led the league 53.1
Damn.
per punt.
That was close to a record, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. 53 yards per punt. That's a heck of a leg.
Yeah, that's a murder leg, if you will.
Who did the Eagles sign as punter and during undrafted free
Zentner.
agency? Dude,
It
yeah,
was
I'm not
Zentner.
gonna lie. I was looking at his tape. That man has a leg, bro. He has
All right,
a
so-
leg.
If I look at the top punters last year in average, it was Stonehouse, Tommy Townsend from Kansas City, 50.4, Logan Cook, 49.3, AJ Cole, 48.9, then 48.9, 48.6. If I go all the way
Yeah, he's got to be
down,
toward the league bottom.
Sipos was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He was 26th at 45.6.
Enough said. He loses the job. And honestly, I've never forgiven the Eagles for getting rid of Cameron Johnston. Where is Cameron Johnston on that list? Still, for the
He's
Texans.
probably up there.
He's 48.1. He's in Cameron Johnson is one.
He was a Pro Bowler
3.
last year, right?
He's 12th in the league.
So there you go.
So
I'll
there-
rest my punting case. Kick it over to you, Johnny.
There is that. So hopefully, I think what it is Zentner is brought in and it's beat out Sipos. That's basically what it comes down to. And you know what?
Shouldn't
It
be
could
difficult.
It happened last year with Stonehouse and Kern. It certainly can happen. Now I will bring up my list of players that I think the Eagles could sign, and boom.
I'm excited to see this.
Alrighty. So my list I have here. Of course, I didn't pick.
Isaiah.
It's first guy, George Fant. Right tackle, can play right tackle or left tackle. Is kind of like your swing tackle. Is a veteran. He's started plenty of games in this league. I think the Eagles need to go and get a veteran tackle. Yeah, I know Driscoll can play right tackle, can play some guard, can play a couple of things there. But I think you need a veteran there just in case one of your key cogs on the outside go down. You have to think about one, your quarterback, your franchise quarterback, and two, the team in general. You want to have somebody there who's played on plenty of teams. He played with the Seattle Seahawks. He won games with Seattle Seahawks. He played with the Jets. He's been around the league. I think he's 31, so he's not super old. He still has a little bit left in the tank there. Next guy, I have Akeem Hicks. And the way that I'm thinking here is, yeah, I was going to put Linval Joseph.
I was going to say, he gives me the Linval Joseph Sue kind of vibe.
Exactly. So for me, Hicks is the backup to Jordan Davis. And you want to have another guy in the middle there, big body. I think he's 320 pounds. He's not, a small defensive tackle. He's not like Tui Pelotu, who's a smaller defensive tackle. They need another big guy up there to spell Jordan Davis, a veteran who's been in this league, who has played under Sean Desai as well. That's a theme I thought about there.
Right.
But if you look at the interior defensive linemen, there are some guys in there that could play the inside there. And, Max, I know Milton Williams. I'm looking more of the nose, a guy that can play the one technique or the zero technique, actually.
Yeah, they're gonna need to find they're gonna need to find someone behind Jordan. Ajomo is gonna be a good pickup for them, but I don't think he's gonna be.
He's only 292, I believe, or 6'2",
Yeah,
290. He's not. They need a guy that can.
Milton's not gonna be backing up. Milton's starting outside of him, and Milton had some flashes last year, but he can't do what Jordan's job's gonna be.
Yeah, so that's why I thought about that, because there's some guys. There was another guy I thought about that played under Desai last year, Al Woods. He signed with the Jets, so he's out of the picture there. I still just think they do need a guy. I know they like Noah Ellis, a undrafted free agent last year out of Idaho, who got hurt. He's another big guy. I think he's like 340 pounds. But that is somebody I thought bringing a veteran in if Linval Joseph doesn't come back and say training camp or whatever. Lastly, I have a trade. Isaiah Simmons was declined the 5th-year option from the Arizona Cardinals. And again, Isaiah Simmons is the player of kind of like what Hassan Reddick was in Arizona, a player who was played a few positions. They just don't know where he fits. And, he played pretty well last year after they kind of, started to figure it out with him. But I feel that he would be a great piece to this defense. And I wanted to pick Patrick Queen too, but unfortunately Kendall had that and I didn't want to kick him off it. So I let him take that one. I wanted to get a linebacker on the list. I was thinking about some of the other guys, like a Zach Cunningham or a Miles Jack or somebody with depth. And the reason I went with Simmons here is I think the Eagles need depth at linebacker. You have Morrow and you have Dean. I understand that. But again, what happens if one of those guys go down? You got to rely on the Davion Taylors, the Sean Bradleys, the Christian Ellis, Patrick Johnson, or not even Patrick Johnson, but look along the lines of guys who don't have a ton of experience. And you can't be putting that in the middle of their defense. That's why I think getting another guy with depth would work perfectly. But again,
I honestly love the Simmons idea. I mean, I loved him coming out of college. He's like your hybrid, like rover kind of linebacker, which I don't really know if he like kind of fits Gannon's defense. You know, they already have Zaven Collins over there. It makes you wonder if they would be willing to trade him because, I mean, they're not going to be competing this year. They're going to be one of the worst teams this year. And, I mean, they're clearly trying to load up on draft picks next year based off the trades they made during the first round. You know,
and he's 24 years old. He turns 25 the end of July.
Yeah, I mean, if you get him in the right defense, I mean, this kid's an athletic freak. I mean, he would be a huge acquisition. I don't know why I didn't even think of him. You know, I'd love to come out of college, and you know, if we got him, I probably would freak out.
And I think the thing that Max put here, like the Cardinals' cornerstone defenders are just asking to leave upon Gannon arrival. Yeah, and I think everything that's come out about Jonathan Gannon and him kind of, I mean, look, what he put on tape in the biggest game of his career so far was atrocious. To only find out that it's because, well, he was focusing on his Cardinals interview. Jonathan Gannon literally walks into the room and immediately alienates Budda Baker. Pew, pew, right? Like, I can't imagine playing for that guy at this point. And like I said, that he's going to end up being the fall guy of this past Super Bowl. We know that. Max, I do think he will coach more than a year. I give him 2. But I do not think that he'll be able to develop Kyler Murray any further. I do not think that his defense is going to stand up. And I never thought very highly of Jonathan Gannon. Yes, his numbers were phenomenal. His rankings were phenomenal, setting all the sack records that were phenomenal, but he also had exceptional players. So they actually played almost in spite of him. It wasn't anything that Gannon was doing specifically. And I think you're going to see that as they continue to develop these players under Sean Desai, because now there's a coach who actually is going to coach them up.
Yeah.
Quick nugget on Gannon. I was told that he agreed to terms with the Cardinals on Friday night before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no
So
kidding.
he was like actually having conversations with the Cardinals, like literally like just, you know, the biggest week of the franchise history. And basically Jeffrey Lurie is just like fuming at the Cardinals ownership. And yeah, not a good look for Gannon. I think he'll last more than a year just because they already owe Cliff Kingsbury so much money. But yeah, Gannon, that guy, if I see him in person, it's on site.
And listen, that's why I think next week the schedule is released. So we'll be on next Thursday since the schedule release comes out Thursday, so we can break that all down. I think the home opener needs to be the Arizona Cardinals. I think it's perfect. Whether it's the first week of the year,
I'm going to that game for sure.
I think it needs to be the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, they better hope that's not a game where there's any kind of snow available. I'm just going to be honest, because that's a game where that gets circled back and a bunch of shit gets thrown at Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah, well.
I honestly feel like opening Thursday night will be us versus the Chiefs in Arrowhead.
They're not going to do a Super Bowl match that early.
I think it's going to be I can see Bengals Chiefs. You know, divisional matchup, something like that, because, you know, all the stuff Travis Kelce said, it's interesting. I like the lead up because I know there's been talk about the Eagles potentially getting the Black Friday game, I guess. But I always like the schedule. I like the lead up to that. It's fun. It's enjoyable to see kind of, okay, what game would I want to go to? You know, when do they play this? How
Right.
many primetime games do they get? Do they have to play in London? You know, overseas, you know, stuff like
That's
that.
not happening, right? They're not playing in Germany, right?
No, the German, I believe the Germany games were set. They're not the Eagles though. I think they're the Saints and Saints and somebody, and then the
It's the
Chiefs
Chiefs, right?
and someone else NFC, but it
Okay.
wasn't the Eagles. So
Okay.
we're good there. But like I said, we'll be there. We'll be here on Thursday night to break that down. But just keep checking. We're going to be posting a whole bunch of stuff. We have some fun ideas, some cool things coming this off season. So again, Eagles rookie mini camp is tomorrow. So we're going to start seeing some of the rookie jersey numbers. I like all that kind of stuff, seeing
I'm
who
so
gets what.
excited for that.
But they're going to be in the building. You know, they have workouts, mini camp invites, all the stuff like that. So the rookie mini camps is this weekend. And then, of course, come May and June, you have the OTAs and the mandatory mini camps and all that stuff. So, and then it's training camp. So it's.
Can we get a quick prediction on what number Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter will be wearing?
Well, go ahead. I'll start with you, Chip. You can take.
Give me a second. I want to see the available numbers right now. As of right now, hold on. I'm on the.
Well,
Eagles
none of
website.
them because they retire them all basically.
No, I'm gonna go see what the available numbers are. Hang on.
But Sidney Brown did get 43.
Yeah,
and it's funny. He says, "Remind you of
Troy.
anyone if you watch him play with the fuzzy hair coming out of the fro coming out of the helmet. It's like a
Dude, he's a hard hitter, man.
yeah, it's like a Palomalu.
He's a
number
ball
43.
player.
But
I'm excited for him.
I'm giving. Is 92 retired by us?
yes,
it is.
Reggie White.
And so is 99.
Yes,
All
and you're
right.
wearing that hat.
I don't pay attention. We retire way too many damn numbers.
Well, and they also fake retire numbers too. So
That's what I'm saying.
9,
Um,
25,
yeah,
86,
literally.
87, 12.
Yeah, no one's wore 25
71.
since Shady. 9's been. What are we doing?
It's a joke. Go ahead.
Jalen's gonna have 98.
No, but it's not a joke. It's real.
It's stupid.
It's stupid.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jalen's gonna have 98, and Nolan's gonna have 57.
And by the way, I will tell you this. It's dumb that LaShawn Shady McCoy gets 25, semi-retired, hasn't been worn since he left. But a guy like Brian Westbrook has his number given out like it's nothing. And he
Right.
was a much better running back than Shady. And I will say that on here, and because it is true. Watch the film. Go ahead, Kendall.
So I saw some tweet that said Condavious Street is 98. I don't know if
Yeah, I
that's
saw
true.
that too.
I think like D-Birds or whatever his account name is, he like quoted it or something like that. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm gonna say no, that's not true because I think 98 with Jalen Carter would look badass.
98 and 90 to oh man.
If not 95, am I thinking
Tui
that Marlon?
Peloto.
To
Yeah.
Peloto.
Okay.
The only numbers available in the 90s, again, 92 is retired.
93,
97 and 98 are only ones available.
I would hope Contavious would take 97 and then Carter would take 98. I don't think Nolan's going to get 4 because I do not want Jake to give up 4. I think Nolan's going to go 42. And then Sydney's at 43.
42,
right?
Kayvon Wallace.
I think Kayvon's going to give it up because it would be sick to see. Because I think Nolan has to have a 4. There's no one 41, is there?
No.
Maybe he might wear 41, but I feel like 42 would look so sick. I don't think Kayvon's going to make the team anyways, so I'd hope Kayvon would just give it up.
So is that what you say?
I'm gonna go. I guess 41 and then 98.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with for. As I said, I agree with you guys. I think 98 just looks good on Jalen Carter, but for Nolan Smith, I'd like to see him wear 0.
You see, I agree with that, but I always forget his name.
What, Gainwell?
No. I do not want Gainwell needs to stay in 14 just because he wore that in college, and I feel like since like I also people said like the Kobe Dean in 0. I wouldn't like to see that because he wore 17 in college.
Yeah.
A Jomo, I want to see him in 0.
I don't think defensive linemen can wear that. Defensive linemen can't wear single digits, I don't believe.
No way. Damn.
Interior defensive linemen, I don't think they can, but like linebackers can wear that. So like defensive linemen can't wear the single digits, I believe.
What are we doing? That's so whack.
But that's what I would think. To me, I think Smith goes with a single digit. You know, I'd like to see Jake Elliott go back to his college number in the 40s.
Yeah, I saw that. I forgot it was Drew. I think Drew D. You know, I don't know what his name is. He like compared. He had a picture of Jake's college number. I was like, that looks gross. I don't want that.
You're going to see that because you know they're going to want those single digit numbers for the playmakers. This the top defenders, all that kind of stuff. But
just seeing Jake trot out in 42 or whatever it was,
46.
46.
But no, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, we'll be here next Thursday. But also stay tuned if we have any. I'm trying to work on a couple interview shows, short segment live interviews. So just keep tuned to that. And yeah, so anything else you guys have to add before we skedaddle on out of here?
Nope.
All right.
I'm good.
Again,
make sure you're following, subscribing, liking everything. If you have any questions or anything like that, Ryan wants 57 for Nolan. I know. I think that's what you said, Chip. So,
yeah,
I would hate that. Personally.
So he has that, but no. Thanks for everyone commenting. Thanks for everybody watching tonight. We really appreciate it. And again, we always end the show with a very happy and a joyful Go Birds.
Go Birds.
This is Matt Ware. Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey, Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the bird.
All birds all the time. All birds all the time.
All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.